Can you guess who said this? We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches, and we shall fight in the landing grounds, and we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, and we shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. If you guessed your middle school students, you're close. Winston Churchill in World War II. But how much does that sound like maybe a middle school student or even a high school student who does not want to live a humble life, who doesn't want to live and walk in humility, which is certainly a value that we want them to have, is to be a disciple of Jesus, to be humble. And yet Jesus put his disciples in tons of humbling, sometimes humiliating places and positions, and things like being scared on the boat and being fearful, and they weren't trusting Jesus, or when the disciples couldn't cast out the demon out of that boy and Jesus had to walk up and do it for them. There were plenty of opportunities where the disciples had to eat a little crow. And now we don't want our students to eat a little crow, but we want them to accept and embrace the value of humility, and doing that through surrender, which really no human being wants to do. We want to fight. We'd rather fight than surrender. And to show you an example of the difference between sacrifice and surrender, let me give you an example from when I was a kid. Back in the day when they used to do these big meetings, and they would ask us to throw our records in the fire and throw our stuff away and burn it all up. And well, we were at a campfire and this was put out there to us. And so I went to my car to find out what I had. And the only thing I had was a few cassettes, I think. Cassettes, Google that, boys and girls. I had a few cassettes, and I took them, and one of them was Bruce Springsteen. And so I took the tapes or whatever I had in there, and I threw them in the fire, and we just sat around, and we thought we had done something huge. We thought we had done something big. We thought we had done something, that was like, this is it. We've done it. And really what that was it was an act of sacrifice, but it wasn't necessarily an act of surrender. You see, the next day after camp, when we got home from camp, I went back and bought all of those things that I had burned up. And that's the difference between sacrifice and surrender. I was able to take it and it burned the physical properties, but those things weren't burned out of my heart. I have to say, I do love me some Springsteen. Now, let me continue. Surrender in our youth ministries is most often expressed during the worship service. It's the chance where we tell kids and we ask students to come to an altar to pray, or to bend a knee, or to pray with somebody else, or raise their hand for prayer, or sing out loud, or, it takes humility to do these things. And students have to believe that humility is the antidote to pride, that there is a pathway, that humility is a stepping stone to something far greater, which is understanding and knowing and sensing God moving in their life in a powerful way. John the Baptist said, I need to decrease, but he must increase. And that's what we're doing. We're helping students decrease. We ourselves are decreasing and finding ways to do that. Now, once again, we have to live this out on a personal level. And that means we can't always be right. We can't always defend our position. We can't always live a life of saying that our way is the best way. Sometimes we have to be humble. We have to be humble with parents. We have to be humble with our pastor. We have to be humble with other people around us. We just have to have a spirit of humility. If we want our kids to catch it, they're going to have to see how that's demonstrated, because maybe they don't have humble parents that are demonstrating this from what it means or what the value is in humility. So here's just a few thoughts, and you're going to work on this in this lesson today. Let me give you a few ideas to help you program around humility through surrendering. And some of those are things like foot washing. And you say, Paul, that is so old school. Yes, it is. But you know what? I mean, it was good enough for Jesus. It's good enough for us. So if you have a foot washing, if you have a way to do that to serve your kids, and say, let them know and say, hey guys, I'm doing this as an example. I'm doing this because Jesus did this for his disciples, and I want to do this for you guys. And explain the story and go into the text and explain the circumstances of what's going around in that. And it will make a powerful impact upon your students. Opportunities to serve one another. Well, gather up a bunch of kids, go over to somebody's house and wash their car for them. Go to somebody's house and mow their lawn. Go to somebody's house and do their homework. Okay, that may be a little bit much, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Find ways and opportunity. Call it secret servants. Call it something where you get the kids out of the room and get them going to other people's houses and serving them in some way or fashion. So now the question is posed to you. How could you help your students surrender during worship or outside of the worship experience without the music and without all the noise? How could you provide more opportunities within the worship service for your kids to show more humility, to surrender to one another, to surrender to God? And how can you keep that going outside of the service? Because surrendering in and of itself is an act of worship. How could they do that and practice that in their daily lives? Let me finish this lesson with a scripture. James 4:6 says, "But he gives more grace." Therefore it says, God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. And that's what we're trying to do as youth workers. We're trying to provide opportunities for kids to humble themselves so that in due season God can exalt them and give them the positions and the desires of their hearts and all those things. So take the time now, work through all the questions that I provided for you for this lesson. Give me your best ideas as to how you can create and program around humility using the worship service and outside services to be able to help your kids understand what humility is all about. Don't forget to head over to the YPU Facebook group page, share some more questions, experiences, how you're programming, maybe an event you've done that you want to share with the group, maybe an idea that you have that you want them to collaborate on with you. You can go over there and do that. And also there's the forum page right here on this website that you can use to ask questions, and all your fellow students will be happy to jump in and help you. So, all right, that's it for now. We'll see you guys in the next lesson.